Hi sewing pals. Today I'm going to take you through the making of the sewing companion bag that we had on a chanda last week. Actually this is take 3 or 4 and I'll tell you for why, because my partner Mark decided to plug the camera in, but he didn't put the plug into the wall. So yes, he did plug the camera into the socket, but he didn't put the he did plug it into the plug, but he didn't plug the plug into the socket. Anyway, then we had to get rid of some space on the camera and he deleted it. So hey, this is a shortened version. Right, this is the sewing companion, and it's quite a large padded bag for taking to retreats or sewing classes. It's got a lovely chunky zip with 2 pullers so that you can open it from the top. Now you can either have it hanging from your wall with all the pockets going that way so you can put everything in, or you can have it like I've done it, with pockets going down on this side and pockets going down on that side, so that you open it out, get what you want out, and you have it like that. If you want it hanging, just make sure all your pockets are opening it the same way. Right, so what do we have? We've got a nice big pocket here for your perspex rulers, or even your rulers for your ruler feet. We've got the elasticated stitch thread holders there. You can make that longer if you wanted to add more elastic. We've got the pockets. Now you can do the pockets in whatever sizes you want. We've got this panel here with calico at the back, so it's still all lined. That will hold a 20 by 18 cutting mat, or is it 24 by 18? You'll know the one. And then on this side we've got a hook and loop pocket. That's for putting your projects in, or you can use it for whatever you want, but basically that's what I've done. I've made a nice thin little pocket for my rotary cutter. Again, variable size pockets, you do that to whatever you want. And then it all folds up and zips up, so you can put it away. And because it's all nice and thin, you can put it behind a door or anything like that if you're short on storage space, and it's just ideal for all your sewing things. Handles, nice length. Again, you can alter them if you want to. Right, so I'll quickly talk through what I've done, because I've had to do quite a bit of prep beforehand, as I said, because I've made it up, and it's a lengthy program. Can't think of the word. Project, that's the word. It's a lengthy project, so I'd got a lot of it done in the tutorial before that we've lost. So basically what I've done is I've cut everything to size, and I have quilted the calico and the wadding and the outer fabric, and I've used my rulers, so this is the stitched up ruler system on here. So I've done that on front and back. Then the lining is basically cut to size and the top folded over twice and top stitched down. On one of the pieces you put the hook or the loop, whichever you're doing, and on the lining piece you've got the opposite, so that is stitched on there, so that when it's closed, that closes up nicely. I stitched all my pockets on. I'm going to show you how to do one of the pockets, even though I've actually had to do this, because this is what we've done. I've done this slightly different in that I've put some elastic across here as well and here, so they can have pens or scissors put in. You can do it however you want. There is a little sewing needle case and a pin cushion as well, but they're quite easy to do. So I've got all the pockets made, and I'm going to make one now to show you how we did it. But first of all, I'll show you how we did the handle. Now it's cut to 4 inches wide and then folded in half and pressed, opened back out, and those edges are folded in to the middle, folded again and pressed, and then you just basically top stitch that down. So I'm just going to get my pocket, and I'll set the camera up. Now this is not my forte, so I'm doing it the best I can, so please bear with me. I'm sure I'll get better the more I do. Right, so I'm just going to bring you in, so hopefully you can see the machine. There we go. Right, so what I've got here is a pocket. I know you're a bit on the slant, aren't you? Let's see if I can straighten you up a little bit. There we go. You would have quilted this in some way, but just for speed I haven't got it done because I don't need it because the pockets are all sewn on. So I've got the binding here. Now you can see it's got pre-pressed edges. I don't really need it this wide, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold over the top just by about 1 centimetre, place it on the edge of the fabric there, and I'm going to stitch just down this fold here, so it's making it a little bit smaller. I'm going to stitch all the way around until I'm about 1/4 inch away from the bottom edge. I might make it a little bit smaller because I don't need it this big actually, so I'm going to cut some of this off just to make it a bit shorter. Right, that's a bit better. So I'm going to stop stitching about 1/4 inch away from the edge and run off at a corner. I'm just going to move you further in. There we go. So you can see there I've stitched off towards that corner. Then what I'm going to do is hold the binding down, take it up to the top, so that's going to give you that little crease there. Holding the top level, bring it down and level with the edge. So there you've got your mitered corner. We're going to stitch from that top to the other edge, stopping 1/4 inch away from the edge. Stitch off that corner, and I'm going to take this out. Now you don't generally need to cut your threads off, but because I've not quilted mine, it's all shifting, so I'm just going to cut that level. Right, so again, hold it down flat, bring the binding up to the top, hold it down, and then bring it down level. And we're going to stitch from the top. Oops, my thread's come undone. That's the problem with having these industrial machines. They don't do it like the computerized ones. Let's see if I can thread it. But they are quite big-eyed needles, so not that it's helping me thread it today. Oh dear, let's get a lighting in the situation. Nearly. Come on. I hate getting older. Oh, got it done. Right. Make sure I leave a bit more thread next time. So start stitching again from the top till you're about 1/4 inch away from the edge again, and then needle down and run off. So hold it down, roll the fabric up to the top, crease, and then bring it down level with the edge and start stitching again. Last corner, run off the edge, up, down and level. Overlap about 3/4 inch, cut that off and cut off the excess binding. Right, so now what I would do is I would actually press these edges over, but just for speed I haven't got the time to do that, so I'm just going to pull those out, lay it down, and we're going to turn this edge in so it just covers those stitches and top stitch. Now I use this little tool or an awl, anything like that, which just helps to keep it all in place. Press it down flat when you get to the corner and bring the bottom edge up, cover those stitches, and that gives you a nice mitre. One stitch onto the binding and then turn it. Follow that across to the other corner, press it down, bring the bottom edge up over those stitches and hold it down and stitch until you get one stitch onto the binding and turn the corner and stitch. Bring the binding over, cover those stitches, stitch all the way up to the top, do exactly the same on the next corner so you've got a nice mitre, turn, and it gives you a lovely neat finish to the pocket. So you need to stitch these pockets in whatever configuration you want on your lining, and then you line the lining up with the middle of the bag and stitch down the side. So that's actually what I got up to before we lost the last video, so I will show you that. And I stitched handles in place. Right, so now we're coming to where we've overlapped. Trim off the excess threads, overlap with the one you stitched before, exactly on top, make sure all the row edges are tucked underneath, and just top stitch till you get to that join. A back stitch to finish off. Cut your loose threads. Right, so that is your pocket finished. Then all you're going to do is stitch it into place on your lining. So your lining's not actually in the bag yet, you're going to stitch it onto the lining while it's loose, and stitching all the way around three sides, back stitching at the beginning and end, in whatever configuration you want in your bag. So I'll show you as best I can what mine looks like. So I've got my pockets in here with a bit of free motion on there, and the ruler work on these other ones, and up the other side we've got the pockets again, and with the flap for your bag, and I've just stitched down the sides. Now what we need to do is fold it in half, and I just want to round those top edges off because it's easier to do the zip on a round than it is on a corner. And basically all I'm doing is just cutting around just to make it curved. Nothing difficult. Hold them together. If you want to go around a plate or something, you can do, but I find it's easy just to do that. Right, so then we're just going to stitch down the side here to hold that in place, and we need to now measure what size zip we need. So fold the bag in half. Where did I put my zip? Put it somewhere safe, obviously. Yeah, it's round my neck. Right, so I've put the zip pull on, and as I said before, this is a nice chunky zip here. So I'm going to put some binding on the end to stop it from fraying, and I'm going to measure from about an inch up the bag here. Just hold it in place all the way around, across the top, can see what I'm doing, just going across the top, both edges together, and then down the other side, and cut it off again when you're about an inch away from the bottom, so that's about there. Right, so now what I need to do is just put a little bit of binding onto the ends of these zips. You could make your binding if you wanted to, but basically just enclose the zip in there and stitch across the bottom. And if you heard that, yes, we do get ice cream men coming on this industrial estate. So that's one. And then the other end, so you can see the zip pulls on there. Put that inside the binding and stitch across. And pull it out and then put those level. And there you've got your zip nice and neat on there. Just having a cup of tea. Right, so now what I need to do, and you're probably better off pinning on this, open it out. So this, you can see a little mark there, that is the middle of my bag. So I want to place the zip, and you've got to look how this is going to be. You want the zip on the outside, so you're going to place it about an inch away from that mark there. Let's just check that's going to be right. Yes, it is. So we're going to place it right sides together on that end. It might be better for me to do it the other way actually, so I'll do it from this side. So again, we've got that little mark there, and we're going to place the zip there against that edge, and we're going to pin it. Now you can go all the way around pinning that till you get to the other edge. I'm actually just going to stitch it. Zip a foot on if you have one. This industrial machine here has got a very narrow foot, so I can use that. I don't need to swap it to a zipper foot. Just make sure that you're stitching over those stitch lines that you've done previously, and stitch that all the way around. I think you can see that okay, yeah? Make sure you've got all the layers together. You could actually stitch it together and neaten it all off before you do this point. I'm just trying to do everything quickly. I've stitched my handles on, so they're already in place. So I'm now coming to the curve. I'm basically just easing it around that edge. Take your time with the curves. There we go. Put your handles down flat and stitch across those handles. It's hard to watch what I'm doing and watch the camera at the same time. Right, so I'm just quickly going around the opposite curve and down the other side. Just make sure you've got enough space on your zip. A little bit short mine, but it's not a problem because you don't open it all the way down anyway. Right, so go sew down to the bottom of the zip and back tack for a little bit, then open the zip. So I'm just opening the puller all the way around. Right, now so that you're down there, you've got your, I've got my mark here halfway. what I'm going to do is I'm going to carry on stitching until I get to the halfway mark. I'm going to pull the zip around, so I'm pulling it all around, and I can see my halfway mark. Where is it? Yeah, it's there at the bottom there. So that's where I need to fold. Bring that zip around, level with the first side, and stitch. I'll show you that in a second so you can see what I've actually done. And now we're going up the opposite side. Right, so here we have that little halfway mark. So when you pull that straight, you can see the zip is there, and that is the halfway mark at the bottom. Carry on stitching around the other side. This is probably where you should be pinning as well, so I'm just going to put a couple of pins in just to make sure I've got the same distance, or clipping's just as easy, probably quicker actually. It's not often you see me pin, but sometimes it just helps. There we go. Right. So again, we're coming up to the corner. Just keeping it level here. Easing it around. Across the top, making sure you catch where those handles are. The opposite handle here. Coming up to the opposite corner. Sorry, obscuring your view again. Take it gently on the corners here. Go. You don't want to pull too tight. And just try and make sure you cover up the stitches that you've previously sewn with. So right now I'm just making it level at the bottom and stitching the rest of that zip in there. It's getting caught on the end of my table. But the zips are going to take quite a bit of use, so that's why I've put in the chunky zip, the proper handbag zip, rather than the smaller dressmaking ones. Right, down to the bottom where we started, and then I will show you what we've got. Then it's just a case of putting the binding on and covering it, which I sewed the binding on with machine but then hand stitched it down. Right, so I'll put this to the right side, just turn those through, pop the corners out. So when I show you this now, you can see you've got that lovely enclosed end in there, and you can see that you've got your zip. Same on this side. You've got your bottom bit there, but we're going to put the binding over that, your lovely enclosed edge, and then your zip. So now what you need to do is put the binding on. So I'll just unzip that zip because it's easy to do it. Poke the corners back through to the top, and we're going to get the binding. Right, so the binding needs to be against this edge and folding onto the inside so that the zip goes inside like that. So what we're going to do first of all is fold back about 1 centimetre, starting at the bottom here. We're going to start where the little mark is on the inside, so start there, and we're going to top stitch the wrong side of the lining. Well, it's actually the right side of the lining if you look, the side with the pockets. You're going to put the binding against that edge, and again, if you've got a zipper foot, use a zipper foot. We're going to stitch that over those stitches that we did before, backtracking as you start. Make sure you pull all the fabric and everything from underneath. Place the binding on the edge and then stitch, trying to keep it as flat as possible all the way around. So just following those stitches. Actually, I think I may have just done this the wrong side. Let me just take that out and check. Yes, I have. I've done it that side. So I'm just going to unpick this. This is a quick way of unpicking. Sorry, I should have done it on the right side. So just scrap what I've just said. Just a second. This is the best way of learning how to put your binding on anyway. Right, sorry, we need to bring it this way. So place it with the zip up. That's it. There we go. Place it with the zip up. I'll just cut off that because I don't want it to be pre-stitched. Fold back 1 centimetre. Place the right side of the binding against the wrong side of the zip at the point where it's halfway. Zipper foot definitely appropriate if you have one. If not, you may have to do a little bit of hand sewing to just get into that tiny little bit there. Back stitch at the start, line up all the row edges and then continue stitching all the way around. Right, it's right this time because you turn it to the inside. Oops, I've just broke my nail off. Right, so try and sew over the stitches that you've done on your zip, just to give you a bit of a, sorry, I'll move that out of your way, a bit of a guideline. But it definitely is better to finish it off by hand rather than machine stitching, because you can't see the stitches when you do it by hand. So I'm just lining up along that gentle curve there, following the zip around, trying to keep on those. Oops, my bobbin thread's run out. Typical. I'll just change that. I'm glad I spotted it before I'd finished the zip. Just put a new spool in. There we go. Where did it run out? Oh, it's not too bad. Not too bad at all. Put it under the foot. I'm having a hot flush at the minute, so my glasses are steaming up. Right, so now carry on stitching as if your bobbin hasn't run out. Determined to get this tutorial up for you today. Been very, very busy. They've been very popular, these sewing bags. I think we're all planning on classes and retreats. Right, just easing it around the corner. There we go. Along the straight edge at the top. You can see I'm just trying to keep all the edges together. Stitch along those stitches that the zip's on. apologise if I don't pull it out of the way enough, but I'm trying to think every few seconds or so to what you were seeing. Gently round the opposite corner or curve, keeping the edges level. Just unwinding the binding as I'm going. If you wanted to make your own binding, you could do, which would be lovely. You could make it stronger by doubling it. Right, so I'm just going along the bottom side of one of them. When you get to the bottom, if you find it too difficult to go all the way around, it could be that your foot's not thin enough, then finish it off by folding back a centimetre, back tack, and then start on the opposite side. But if you can, try and pull it out flat and stitch across the bottom of the zip, pushing it all underneath, making sure it's all level, and hold it flat and stitch across the base of the bag and back up the opposite side of the zip. It is doable. I've done it on mine, but like I say, I have got a very thin foot on, so just there. So I've done it. So it is doable. You've just seen me do it. I'm just going to flick the bottom up, try and move that out of the way so you can see. And we're now going up the other side of the bag. There is a lot of binding on this sewing companion. And you are getting it in real time, so I'm not doing the hand sewing in real time. You would get fed up of seeing it and of hearing me talking. Just gently round one of the curves. Move the handles out of the way so you don't catch those in. Apologise about the noise next door. I have no idea what they're doing. It's a car parts place, so there could be moving wheels around it, sound of it. I think they've just dropped one. And that's Molly barking at them, telling them off. Disturbing her slumber. Oh, that's a bit of a half-hearted attempt to the bark, Molly. Right, so I'm just coming round the last curve. Still not happy about him making a noise next door. Right, down to the bottom now from to where we started. So we've gone all pulled it out. We've gone all the way around both edges of the zip. Let's move that out of the way so you can see. I feel like I've done a workout. Right, so now we're coming back to where the bottom is. So I'll just move that out of the way so you can see. We've got the end of the bag here. So I'm just going to cut an extra 4 or 5 inch off, just so I've got enough. Move the binding out of the way. And I'm going to carry on going down. Opening it out as wide as you can as you go, making sure you don't catch the binding from the opposite side. And pull it from underneath. You feel like you're sewing blind at some points, but just stop with your needle down and manoeuvre it as best you can until you get so you can see the binding from the original way you started. When you can, cut off the excess binding, fold back a centimetre and put it in place, and then stitch and back tack. Try to keep your hands out of the way, just back tap there and take it out and snip. Right, so now what you need to do is turn everything to the right side. So I'm just going to push that out, and on the opposite side. Right, now you can see we've got the binding there that needs pushing to the inside, and what you're going to do is open it, put all this binding on the inside and top stitch. So all the way around. You can pin it, you can clip it, whatever's best for you. As you can see, all the way around. When you get to this top bit, the best thing to do is to do small stitches and just gather a tiny amount on the corner all the way around, and it'll make it a nice neat curve. So on here you would be pinning. Try and show you a little bit what it's like when you've pinned it. So turning all those edges in there, turn it to the inside and pin it in place. So there, I'll show you the top bit there. That's what it will look like when it's finished, all pinned in place all the way down. And when you get to the bottom here, you're just going to put the binding to the inside and stitch all the way around, and that will give you that lovely neat finish. Right, so that's the end of the sewing companion. I hope you enjoyed that. If you've got any problems, feel free to give me a call or Facebook me or email. Thanks, bye.